How do you find the inverse algebraically? We know how to do it graphically and from a table. But here's what we're going to do. If I'm given my function in function notation with f of x, first I replace y with f of x because that's what f of x is. And since we're doing the inverse, I'm going to flip the y and x around. I'm going to solve that equation for y. I'm going to replace y with inverse of x. So if we take a look at example 5 here, let's follow our steps of what we're going to do here. First thing I'm going to do, I'm going to replace f of x with y. So we're going to say y equals negative 3x plus 27. And then we flip the x's and y's around. So then we're going to say x equals negative 3y plus 27. And then let's solve for y. So I'm going to get y by itself. So we're going to subtract 27 from both sides. And notice the x and 27 aren't like terms, so I'm just going to rewrite it as x minus 27 equals negative 3y. I'll divide both sides by negative 3. I think since I have a negative here, I'm going to split this up. I'm going to say x over negative 3 minus 27 over negative 3 equals y. Well, what's a positive divided by a negative? I'm going to write y on the left-hand side now. So I get negative 1/3 x. You could write negative x over 3. A negative divided by a negative is a positive, so plus 9. Finally, you're going to rewrite, instead of y, you're going to say f inverse x equals negative 1/3 x plus 9. Now, there's a couple different ways you could have written this. You could have written it as negative x over 3 plus 9. We could have said 27 minus x divided by 3 because I would just switch all the signs. You got a couple different ways of doing this. In fact, you don't have to follow this whole rule. If we just look here, what do you have to do to get x by itself? Well, the inverse operation is I'm going to subtract 27. I'm going to divide by negative 3. But usually you want to write it as an equation, so this is a good way to write it as an equation. Let's take a look at example 6 here. I'm going to go through the same process. Y equals 5 over 4x minus 8. Switch the x's and y's around. X equals 5 over 4y minus 8. Well, then let's add 8 to both sides. So we get x plus 8 equals 5 over 4y. Well, let's multiply both sides by 4 to get rid of the fractions. And you got to multiply the whole side by 4. So we're going to say 4x, 4 times the quantity x plus 8 equals 5y. Now, we could write this as 4x plus 32. In fact, I think I'm going to do that here just so you can see it. We're going to distribute that 4 inside. So we get 4x plus 32 equals 5y. Then I'll divide both sides by 5. And when I rewrite this, I'm going to write y on the left-hand side. So you get 4x plus 32 all over 5. Notice 5 does not go into either one of these terms, so I think I'm just going to leave it how it is. So then we're going to say f inverse of x equals 4x plus 32 all over 5. And there's that solution.